Spontaneous as always, as of 7 a.m. this morning, Nintendo has announced their new 7-inch OLED Nintendo Switch model, and with it, a trailer that gives us a little bit more Splatoon 3 footage. But before we go into that, I'll give you a quick rundown of the new Switch. Now, of course, there's the obvious thinner bezels and larger 7-inch screen. The original Switch has a 6.2-inch LCD screen, but the upgrade from LCD to OLED typically will give better durability, lower power consumption, better contrast, and of course, the obvious one, more vibrant colors. Next, the tabletop stand on the back of the Switch now extends the full length of the console, which looks like you can set it to multiple viewing angles. But the next one, and this one's a big one, is a built-in wireless LAN port, which will allow you to connect your Switch when docked to an Ethernet cord that will give it wired internet instead of wireless. Now, if you're like me and already purchased the USB to Ethernet adapter for the original Switch, then you'll know how much of a difference it makes. But then to you, this wouldn't seem like a big deal. But when you think of how many people are going to be buying this upgraded Switch for Splatoon 3, giving new users better options for internet connection, the plus side for us is we may see less disconnections in lobbies. I can personally vouch how much better my online experience is using a wired connection versus wireless. A good example is when I'm watching my favorite live streamer play Splatoon 2, and when they start playing with their fans and I try to get in on wireless, I'm not able to get in because everyone else gets in before me. This doesn't happen on a wired connection. On top of that, Nintendo has doubled their internal storage from 32 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes. I personally have a 64 gigabyte SD card in my Nintendo Switch with its internal 32 gigabytes, and it's almost enough. I have a lot of games, and I would say if this is going to be your main console, you may still need an additional SD card, but if you're playing casually a handful of games, the 64 gigabyte will be plenty. Along with an enhanced audio experience, however that sounds. The new OLED Nintendo Switch model will launch October 8th, 2021, which is a Friday, for just under $350, and with the original Switch being $300, that seems pretty fair. But enough about the console, let's talk about Splatoon 3's footage. Or I guess we could call it a Splat Bow tease, because from what I can see, the only new information that we do get is about the Splat Bow, but the footage does also confirm some speculations that I had. But I think it's safe to say now that the Splat Bow is of the charger class. Of course, given the shine at the end, typical to a charger, but also the sound that we hear when it charges and shoots. In my previous video, Everything We Know About Combat in Splatoon 3, it speculated that when jumping with the Splat Bow, it would shoot 3 vertical shots, but when shot from the ground, it would switch to horizontal. And I would say that the footage does a pretty good job confirming that. And while it was very tempting for me to speculate that it's a one-shot splat, the Inkling gets a total of 2 splats with the bow during the duration of the trailer, both of which were shot vertical, which makes me stick to my original theory that vertical shots will be a one-shot kill, with horizontal shots perhaps more for inking purposes. So while that's not so much of a surprise, what is a surprise is the travel speed of this ink. But even slowing down the footage, I have a hard time keeping track of the shots, unless they're horizontal, which seem to be slower. But what's interesting is it looks like you can arch your shots similar to a slosher, which will surely make for some very interesting splats. But speaking of interesting, if you found this interesting, leave a like before you leave. And because this news is still fresh and just came out a couple hours ago, for the next couple days, any details that I find out that I missed during this trailer will be left in a pinned comment below. Subscribe for more. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Okay, and there's also the swanky walk animation when charging, but I'm pretty sure you saw that.